Yeah.
You know,
What do you think? What was the moment like? Because I'm curious, what caused? Like again, I'm fascinated with what causes someone to develop their personality in that way. And I know for me, I have like a chip on my shoulder just because my whole life I felt like I was the kid who was the fat kid or the person that got picked last. And so I would always try to prove myself. Eventually now it's like not proving myself to others, but now it's like I am capable, therefore I should do it.
Right.
But it started with me trying to lose weight to be a basketball player, me trying to get into dental school, all these things. But what was that for you? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it was probably, I don't think about that actually too much. A great question. It was probably proving myself also. You know, I think, like, I do think that there are entrepreneurs out there that start like a company that they're passionate about and they go off to sell it, you know, for $100 million, you know, whatever, right? And that's cool. I also think there's other entrepreneurs that just, in the beginning, they just want to get rich, dude. Like, they just want to get wealthy. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. You know, it's nothing to be ashamed of, right? So for me, I just wanted to be wealthy, man. I mean, I had a lot of family members that were wealthy that were very selfish. So I never got anything. I never saw anything. None of that, right? And I always just wanted to be like them, but not be like them, if that makes sense. I wanted to prove to them that I could do it, I think. And but I didn't want to be them. You know, I didn't want to have the same characteristics that they had. So I think I just wanted to prove like to the world that I could do it. And I think still to this day, like I do have a little bit of a chip on my shoulder. You know, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think, you know, I do want to prove to the world that I can do it. Not that I really care about their opinion, but more along the lines of like, I just want to prove to them I can do it. And then if you like it, cool. If you don't like it, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But also to myself, you know, I think now, you know, you start getting a little bit older and it's like, you know, you want to challenge yourself. You want to do new things. You want to, you know, just like conquer new stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I think there's a little bit of that there too. And then, you know, you get to a point where you're going to help people and, you know, a lot kind of comes into play as you start kind of going through the motions. I mean, and I'm still learning, right? I mean, I've, you know, like I always thought that if I was where I'm at right now, like I'd be like, you know, just like this perfect, happy individual. And I'm not, you know, I'm not perfect. I have bad days. There's days where, you know, I don't want to go to work. I don't want to do what I do, but I do it anyways, you know, and I'm still working through different things just like anybody else. I think that's the main thing to remember is like, you know, you're never going to get there. It's not a destination. It's just a journey. You know what I mean?
That's kind of what I was curious to hear your opinion on as well, is like, obviously you've made a lot of money in your first 25 years of life, more than most people will make in their entire lives. But have you reached a point to where you realize that however much money you have, millions and millions more, it doesn't necessarily correlate to more happiness? And what's kind of your thoughts on the happiness aspect of all that?
Yeah, man. I mean, I think to a certain degree, like money can buy certain things that'll make you happy. But I think happiness in itself is not like, I feel like people look at happiness and they think of it more as like a continuous state of mind,
right? Or
state of being. And I don't think that's the case. I think happiness is temporary. And even the happiest people in the world, you know, you'll be. It's like a moment of joy. It's a moment of. It's like a short duration of time, right? But even Tony Robbins, I mean, I guarantee you, right? If you talk to him, he'll tell you that, you know, that he has bad days. And maybe it's not a bad day for him anymore. He's probably like really quick at like snapping out of it. But I guarantee you, dude, he'll go at like an hour, right? Where it's just like, you know, it's rough. You know what I mean? Something bad happens, whatever. So I don't know, man. I think I don't think there's true like long-term happiness. I do think that you can have more moments of joy. Yeah. You can be happier more often.
Yeah.
You can be more optimistic. You can look at life like life is happening for you and not to you. And that will ultimately allow you to experience more moments of happiness, ultimately more than, you know, moments of sadness or depression or anxiety or whatever.
Yeah.
And then to the point about the money thing, yeah, I mean, I've made a lot of money. I don't know. I don't feel like I've made a lot of money. But like,
well, obviously, like your long-term goal, you're on, you know.
Yeah, you're always comparing, you know, to something. But I think from here, the next like big milestone is probably like 10 million or more, like liquid like assets, you know, like at one given time, you know, not like 10 million total, but like at one time,
like in cash.
Yeah. Or like in assets, you know what I mean? That's kind of like my next goal. I don't think a lot will change at that goal either. Past that, maybe like 100 million, you could buy like a jet, you know, you can buy like, a couple of like, you could have like a first, second, and third home. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. But yeah, I don't know. Like, I mean, we do deals all the time, man, where like I look at the deal and like I did a deal the other night. I was out grabbing a drink with my buddy and somebody sent us like multiple six figures. And I just like, it didn't faze me at all. You know, I was like, and I don't say that, right? Like I say almost to impress upon people, right? That like, you know, wherever you're at in life, understand that like the whole thing is a journey. Yeah. Cause for so long, man, I thought that when I was where I'm at right now, I would be like happy. Right. Or like, you know, like again, like this like magical fairy tale land,
you get
right?
Sold the dream.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just not true, man. Like it doesn't actually change anything. Like it really, I mean, sure. Like you get a cool watch and drive a cool car or whatever, but like even that stuff, man, like it's just temporary. Yeah. You know, it comes and it goes. Right. And so I don't know. I hope that answered your question.
The reason I wanted to hear your take on that is because, you know, one thing that really stood out to me is like you're talking about, I just want to be wealthy. I want to be wealthy. And I was telling Clark about this. I had a dream that I was convinced was real because it was so vivid to me. It was, I don't know, it was like a year ago or so, that I had won $1 billion. And in the dream, have you ever heard like in your dreams, you're not able to read things? It's like a sign mark. Yeah. So I thought this dream was real because in the dream I had won $1 billion just by chance, and I looked at the little ticket that they handed me and it said Mega Millions on top of it. Maybe it was because it was a logo, I could read it in my dream. Yeah. But in my opinion, I was like, this can't be a dream because I'm reading this thing right now and it says Mega Millions. So I woke up that morning, and in my dream, here's how crazy it was. I had already lived out months, if not years, of being a billionaire. Wow. Right. And so I had gone through the emotions of having won it in my dream. And I woke up, instant depression and sadness, like, oh, fuck, this isn't real. Like, it was kind of like I heard when the movie Avatar came out, people committed suicide because they realized their life would never be like the Avatar world. And so it was kind of like one of those, like, fuck, I didn't actually win $1 billion. And so I was like, how crazy would it be if I looked up the Mega Millions lotto right now and it was at $1 billion? So I Google it and it's like 4 a.m. and I'm like, holy shit, it was at $1 billion. It's like the first time in a long time that it had done that. So I went and bought a lottery ticket and I was convinced this is a sign I'm going to win. And I'm not even big on the law of attraction stuff, but I was convinced I had already won it. And so what I realized, because Clark asked me, this is why I told him about it. He's like, what's your number? If you had a number where you'd be like, all right, I'm done. I'm just going to chill. I realized that even when I had processed being a billionaire, I was already scheming what I would do next to make more, you know? Yeah, you're an entrepreneur, right? You can't, dude, money's just like the byproduct, man. You know what I mean? It just so happens that like when you do what we do, you make money. But it's, you know, once you have a little bit of that, you realize that, and you realize that money doesn't change anything. I work way harder than I do now than I did back then, you know, and that's not going to change anytime soon, right? It's not ever going to change. If I could have 100 million in the bank right now, dude, I'd still be doing this podcast. Yeah. It wouldn't even affect anything, right? Like it just wouldn't, because what difference does it make? Right? What are you going to do? I mean, like, come on, there's only so much you can do, you know? So, I don't know. That's just my take, but I completely agree with that. I think that it's the art of like the win. It's the hustle. It's the victory. It's like the hunt almost even. It's almost even more the hunt than anything, right? Like the hunt is almost more fun than the kill. The kill is cool. It's like, oh, okay, but that lasts, it's like so temporary, right? The hunt is like this long process. Got it. That ends up being enjoyable, you know? I think the better question to rephrase what Clark said would be like, what is the fulfillment moment for you? Right. For me, like, I don't think it's related to money because, like you said, money's a man-made thing. And the economy itself is man-made to have money and control people and keep them as employees and keep the things moving and keep our systems going, right? But it's all man-made creations. It was thought up in someone's head. And so when I think about that, now I'm thinking, okay, let's not think about what's the number. Let's think about what's the lifestyle that I want to live. Yeah. I mean, I think the lifestyle is being able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, with whoever you want, without even having to think about it, right? Right. I don't want to look at, I think there's actually a study, we could probably Google it, but I think there's an article where like, and don't quote me on this, I think like 80% or 90% of Americans, when they go out to eat, they don't look at the food first, they look at the price. Right? I used to relate to that for sure. Let that sink in, right? Yeah. When you go out to eat, are you looking at the food or are you looking at the price next to the food? Right? So I don't want to live a life where my family
and my kids and my wife are trained to look at the price.
Got it.
Right? I want them to make me a menu that doesn't have the price on it because I want to order what I want to order without looking at anything, right? That's the lifestyle I want to live. You know, if I want to go somewhere, if I see a cool picture of a cool place, a cool, island or some exotic place, I just want to go, right? I don't want to think about it. I don't want to think about like, oh man, can I afford that? Can I not afford that? Maybe I should stay in the smaller one. You know, maybe we should, we'll go like on the weekend, because then if we go on the weekend, we got an excuse to kind of be gone for a couple of the days, and we can squeeze like the Friday and the Monday, right? No, like if I want to go on Tuesday morning, I'm going to go on Tuesday morning, right? Like, let's rock and roll.
When Dean was like, let's go to Sedona today.
That's exactly right. And so, I think that to me is the ultimate lifestyle, being able to do what I want, whenever I want, with whoever I want, being able to help the people and the causes, the charities, or whatever that I see, like, I feel the kind of the urge to help them, without having to think about it, right? So it's like, if my church needs money, I want to be able to write them sign a blank check and let them fill out the amount, right?
Got it.
And so that's kind of like my vision, is just like, money's really not even a thought of my imagination.
Got it.
It's more, I do what I love to do, right? I get to build companies, I get to solve problems, I get to be a serial entrepreneur. And as a result of that, I really get to truly have that freedom that everybody talks about, right? And that doesn't mean that I'm going to go, chill on a beach for a year.
Right.
It just means that if I wanted to, I could.
Got it.
It's more of the thought of it, right? It's more of that, the weight lifted off my shoulders, knowing that I could do it. Probably in knowing that I could do it, I almost probably wouldn't even do it. But the fact that I know that I could would allow me the freedom.